Good morning, everybody. Sorry I wasn't transmitting there. Go ahead and re-enter into the giveaway if you haven't, because it was having some issues. I was having some issues with the software. So go ahead and re-enter if you haven't. Hopefully it's working now. Anyway, hope everyone's doing good. And it was a very busy week for me. So I finished off my GHL versus Apex episodes 7 and 8, I believe. And those are going to be coming up here this week. So I just finished them up. Looks like the giveaway is still not working. So let me reset it again, and then we'll try to go. It's just acting up this morning, unfortunately. Only people that have entered is Lucas, apparently. So go ahead and try again. And I don't know. It's just having some issues today for some reason, unfortunately. So today we're going to be talking about dream tanks. I came up with a couple ideas this week of things that I wanted to do with my tank, and a couple ideas that I've been coming up with, and I was curious to hear some of your guys' ideas and what you would like to do with your dream tank. Obviously we're going to talk a little bit about automation, as we always do, and we will also talk about my GHL experience so far. I'd like to get your guys' comments on it. It looks like Desert Reef Aquatics isn't here, so that's good. We don't want him here. Let me see if I can reset it again, guys. Sorry. Resume. Let's see. Try again. Let me close out this one and then let me restart it and see if it works. Let's see if it works now. Yeah, I'm a little behind this morning. I had a lot to do, so let me see if it's working. If it doesn't work today, then we might not have a giveaway for the first time. Unfortunately, I've given away a lot of stuff, so maybe one day we won't have a giveaway. The giveaway is a gift card, because I couldn't come up with anything else. I got a couple things going on here in the upcoming weeks. We're going to have some big giveaways, and we are going to be giving away a Trident because we're really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome. So yeah, give it a go again, guys. Let's see what happens. So far, only Sean has been entered. So let's see if it works now. So let's. I guess we'll start with. Yeah, it should be working now. I guess we'll start with what constitutes a dream tank, right? So, you know, I've had 5 tanks in my life, and I don't even know if I have my dream tank, to be honest with you. I love my, I love my in-wall tank. I think it's really cool. A lot of people want to have an in-wall tank, which I think is really cool. I have my 300. It's a big tank, but it's just fish, so it's not coral. So what constitutes dream tank, right? So my opinion always has been on a dream tank is a tank that you aren't going to upgrade. That's the dream tank. It's not the tank in between a tank in between a tank. It's the last tank you're going to have for a long time, maybe 15 years. So when we talk about a dream tank, we want to really go over what is a tank that is going to last you forever, first of all, have all the parts that you need that aren't going to break. Usually when you build a dream tank, you don't think about money at that point, to be honest with you. You buy the most expensive and best products out there to make it work. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. I feel like it's always a dream tank till you build it, then you're always have a new dream tank in mind. Yeah, that could be true. The in the wall setup with no algae. Yeah, that's a good one. So my dream tank, like I said, I think I'm really close with my 100. I really love it. You know, I have very few problems with it. I got all of my equipment that I need on there. But, you know, a dream tank for me would be to have, I would say maybe a 400, 300 gallon tank would be a dream tank for me. That is, I don't know, that has coral in it, that's probably, I don't know, I like the bow fronts. I don't know about you guys, but I like the bow fronts. It'd be pretty cool to have a really big one, you know, like in the middle of my in the middle of my family room, like that is 360, so you can go around the whole thing and see everything. I don't know, maybe a cylinder tank, but I would think like I think someone had mentioned, yeah, maybe a shallower tank, and maybe like lights that are coming down from the ceiling or something really cool. But yeah, I mean, dream tanks are basically tanks that your imagination comes up with. And you know, I thought about maybe one day if I lived in a 2-story house, having a you know, stairway go up to my office, and then I would be able to walk over my tank, which would be really cool, and I could see all my fish and everything, and my corals, everything underneath me as I walk into my office. Maybe even put my desk and my chair here on top of the glass somehow, so I can see underneath while I'm working, and it would be like a gigantic tank. Maybe, I don't know how many gallons, but it would be big. That would be really cool. Let's see some of you guys' ideas. My dream tank is a 400 with sump in a separate room. So that's a good thing to say, Lee. You know, a lot of people have their sumps in separate rooms. You know, it just, like, I have my sump technically in a second room because it's in my garage, right? But I really don't like the idea of having a tank, you know, way over here in another room, and then my sump across the house. I just think that's just so difficult to work on. So I've never liked that idea. And of course, no algae. Let's see, sump room right there. Yeah, you know, so 2 people said no algae. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a lot of algae problems in my tanks. You know, I have an algae turf scrubber. I think that helps with not having algae in your tank. I'm dealing with these stupid spaghetti worms everywhere. I got thousands of them. So I bought a Cory wrasse. Hopefully we'll eat them. But I've never had an algae problem in my tank, I don't think, once. And I think nutrients, of course, are you're going to be your determining factor if you're going to grow algae. But you know, I think I mentioned this last week. If you buy your frags and you buy all of your corals from one place, and that one place, you know, doesn't have algae in their tank, there's a good chance you're not going to get algae. I mean, it's not a, you know, slam dunk, but it's a good chance you're not going to get algae if the tank that they came from doesn't have algae and they're growing it out of the tank. So for me, as you guys know, I buy most of my stuff from Top Shelf Aquatics, and I've never had algae from their product. So again, having an algae turf scrubber I think helps, because it takes all the algae that would grow in the tank and puts it in there. But yeah, I don't have a lot of algae issues, honestly. I do the micro bubbling, which I've discussed, which helps me with the glass. If anyone, I don't think Desert Reef's on here, but My tank I probably clean once or twice every 2 weeks. I clean the glass. Like the micro bubbling, I've noticed does help with film algae on the tank. Let's see. Dream tank shouldn't include more maintenance or size you're willing to deal with. That's a perfect quote right there. So shouldn't include more maintenance. That's kind of what we were kind of going to get into a little bit today. So you don't want your dream tank to have tons of maintenance. So generally on a dream tank, you want to have the best equipment you can buy. So whenever you are going to be building a dream tank, plan on spending a good amount of money. So you don't want to have, don't go out and buy, pumps that are going to last you a year. Buy the really high quality pumps that are going to last you years and years and years, so you don't have to do maintenance. It's really important, again, if you're building a dream tank, that you buy the best stuff that you can buy. Kevin asked, what is microbubbling? And so did Kawasam. So microbubbling is something I learned about actually from Cruise. And the reason, oh no, here he is. I lost my train of thought. I started microbubbling when I read about Cruise's experience with dinoflagellants and specifically with algae. So I read about it, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And what I read about was that when you microbubble in the middle of the night, it basically takes all the algae particles and suspends them and gets rid of them. And then they go into your filter sock. And interestingly enough, once I started doing that, I started noticing a big difference in the algae. They claim that you're going to see better, color and all kinds of different things from your corals, but I didn't really notice much of a difference. They say that the microbubbling gets rid of, I guess, the slime coat on the corals in the evening, and then it gets rid of it. I'm not noticing much of a difference, but I will say algae and definitely dinos. I had dinos one time. Once I did the microbubbling method, I haven't seen them since. So go and research microbubbling. I do recommend it. I do it every evening. I do not get salt splash. Someone had asked that. As long as you put in the sump in a specific area, as it says, by your return pump, you're not going to have any issues with that. Yeah, Milton, that's a perfect quote. Your dream tank shouldn't be money driven at all. So that's one thing about dream tanks is, plan to have a gigantic budget for it, because you're only going to do it once. Let's see. Desert Reef hasn't asked anything important, so it really doesn't matter. Desert Reef, I have some stuff for you. You're supposed to come and pick up, and of course you're lazy, so you don't come and pick it up. Let's see. We got 21 people in the contest. That's great. Lee, that's not an issue, but you should only be microbubbling in the evening time. You want the microbubbles to not. You're going to want the microbubbles to be kind of suspended in the water and then get pushed out. So if you're putting them right into your wave maker, there's a good chance a lot of those bubbles aren't actually suspending long enough to do anything. Because the whole point of microbubbling is to suspend those microbubbles for a period of time, and then they will start to rise slowly. That's the whole point of it. Anthony, I think my shape, we were talking about this earlier, would be kind of like a... I've thought about this. I think the one that I was talking about is really my dream tank, which is having a second floor, walking up and being able to, literally walk over my tank and see my corals. Now, there's a lot of problems with that. First of all, how are you going to clean that tank? You know, is there going to be a big thing that you lift off and then you can just, you know, get to things? I really thought of a shallow tank. Someone had mentioned that. So my thought on this was to have like maybe a 2 foot or 3 foot tall tank, maybe even shorter than that, that is in between the floors somehow, and then you get into an issue with lighting. So my other thing was, okay, my fish and everything's underneath me, right, when I'm in my desk, but how are we lighting that tank? So do I have to put like a gap over the tank somewhere and put LED strips? I mean, it's such a convoluted idea, but such a cool idea if I could ever do it. I don't have a 2-story house, so I'll never be able to do that, but that's my dream tank. If I ever have a house with 2 stories, or I build an office in a second floor, and somehow, some way, I can walk over the tank and see all of my fish and coral, and somehow have lights that are shining, maybe at a diagonal. I don't know how it would work. How do you program microbubbling? Yes, you just do I do it at night, so I do it between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Generally, like 7-8 hours is fine. Jake, I'm not building a dream tank. I'm just talking about dream tanks, getting some ideas from other people. Brian, the difference that you're going to see is, like I said, not really in corals, even though they all claim that. But you're probably not going to get dinos unless, if you haven't had dinos, you're probably not going to get them if you're microbubbling. But really what you're going to notice is film algae on the tank and how much you're actually cleaning your surfaces. If you're doing it right, your microbubbling should be significantly... you should have a lot of microbubbles in your tank, and they should be going all over the place. So there's a possibility that you're not getting them where they need to go. That's what I struggled with when I first started. I first started having an issue with microbubbling because it didn't get to the corners of the tank where I needed it to. So what I ended up doing is I ended up moving my returns right into the power heads, and then I increased the power head. Like I have MP40s, so I increased them to the nutrient method or nutrient mode, and I increased their power during microbubbling. So the microbubbles literally come around, and then the wave makers kind of blow them everywhere. And since it's on nutrient mode, they expand up and then get out, and that's the right way to do it. How long have I been microbubbling? I started doing it maybe about a year ago. Show us how you're doing your microbubbling. Yes, roller mats are awesome. I love my roller mat. Let's see. Yeah, I would say, Brian, get out. What I did is I got out a UV light. They make those flashlights with UV, or not UV. They're like red or something. I'm sorry. And turn off all the lights at night, or whenever you're doing it, and just take a look with that flashlight if you see microbubbles, because otherwise they're really hard to see. That's why they're called microbubbles. And make sure that they're getting everywhere in the tank. What are your thoughts on a core of 20 at 15? Wow, 15 feet of total? No, don't do that. That's not going to work. And I'll tell you why. I have a core 20 on my reef tank, and Desert Reef can actually attest to what I'm doing. You guys have probably seen it on the videos I made. But I have a core 20, and it's pushing up to my manifold, which is roughly not even a foot of head pressure, to my manifold that's horizontal, which is pushing my algae turf scrubber into a chiller also, and then going back up and then into the return tank. I probably have maybe 2 or 3 feet of head pressure, but I have a lot of bends, and I have a flow sensor at the output, and my flow is roughly 150 to 200. So I highly doubt that Core 20 is going to make it. That's just my opinion, just based on my experience with the Core 20. I would really suggest that you look at Abyss pumps if you're going to do something that ridiculous at 15 feet. Even the Vortec or the Vectra L1s can probably push that head pressure. But again, you're probably going to need some pretty good power heads in there, so that way you have enough flow. So, Glenn, I really don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, Kevin, hammerheads are good. They're just really loud. It really depends on what you're doing, So, yeah, hammerheads are great pumps. Reef flows are great pumps. I think Reef Flow makes the hammerhead, now that I think about it. Iwaki pumps, they're really good pumps, but they're just really loud. Yeah, Matt, that might work. A 9.0 might work. But yeah, Core 20, unfortunately, Glenn, is just not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Let's see what we got going on here. We got 24 people have entered the contest. So today's stream is going to be a little short. I got to be somewhere, so we're probably going to cut this to about 15 more minutes. So just to let you guys know, I'm sure you guys realized I had to come with a topic in the middle of the night last night. So usually I'm a lot more organized and ready to go. I have, like I said in the beginning, I do have my episode 7 and 8 ready to go. I'm just editing them. You'll see them this week. I think we're going to have a pretty clear winner after you start to see the next episodes. As I get into the more advanced stuff, you'll start to realize one might be better than the other. Let's see. That's what I do, Glenn. I have a Meanwell that powers my LEDs in my 300 with the 0 to 10. So I had to use a special cord, or actually no, I made a cord for that. I had to find the pinouts of the Meanwell. Yeah, the Reef Octopus Vario 6. I'm curious, Aaron, how that's going to do with that much head pressure. We'll see. I don't think a Vectra M1 would push 15 feet. I think an L1 might do it, or L2, sorry, because you can't find really L1s anymore. Yep, that's also correct. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. GHL for the win. GHL is gonna win, someone said. That's interesting. What is your thoughts on a denitrator? That's awesome. That's a great question. So, Steph, I'm wondering what kind of denitrator, because there's a couple different ones. I have had a denitrator on my 300, and it was fantastic. I had a Coralin, and I used the sulfur. It's a sulfur denitrator. That's right. That stuff works, man. If you're trying to reduce nitrates and nitrates only, those denitrators work. Holy cow. So I love denitrators. Unfortunately, nowadays people, are trying to get rid of, phosphates and nitrates, and unfortunately denitrators don't really do that, One that uses airplane fuel. You mean the... Yeah, there is a denitrator. There's a couple out there that do use vodka, I think, or carbon dosing inside them. I haven't really looked at them. Let's see. I have a dual Vectra power monitoring, turn off skimmer, draws less than, yeah, they definitely draw a lot less power. That's another thing to consider when you're looking at large pumps. I don't really program my algae reactor. I just have it have lights, that I program that turn on and off. You do not need starter bacteria for the denitrator. They do take quite a long time to get going, though. Brian, I don't know. I think there is a website that would do that, or does do that. You might want to wait to see if anybody else answers. Yeah, we don't care. Just leave. We don't want you here anyways. You don't contribute anything to the stream. Yeah, the Deltec calcium reactor looks really cool. I'm still, after my... after my, whatchamacallit, I don't know what the word is. Kerfuffle? I don't know. With my ACR, I don't think I'm going to be going back to any calcium reactors anytime soon. I've been really happy with my 2-part dosing. But then again, I have a 100-gallon tank. If I was to have a bigger tank, I might have to look at some other options. But, let's see. Someone had asked about something. Yeah. So, like I said, I got episode 7 and 8. 7 is going to be advanced programming, and 8 is going to be some of the features that the GHL has and the Apex has. You're going to be really surprised to see some stuff. 9 is going to be warranty and support. I can tell you right now that Apex or Neptune is killing it in that department. So I will give you a little bit of a teaser, but I sent Neptune and I sent GHL a support ticket, just frivolous support ticket, because I didn't really need any help, but I wanted to see how long it takes for them to get back to me. GHL still has not got back to me, and Neptune got back to me within 12 hours. So just to give you a teaser. What size air pump for microbubbling? Really, any air pump will work. I would suggest that you get a air pump with a control that lets you adjust the output. So that would be my recommendation. Let's see. I wonder if my camera is about to reset. So we're gonna reset it so that way it doesn't happen. So I think that's going to be episode 9. Episode 10 is going to be, I haven't really decided, but I want to do an episode where I go over some of the products that they make that I think in comparison. Now, I already did that in one of the episodes, but I want to do more of a, hey, this company sells this company sells this one can do this, and this one can do this, based on external products. I'm not going to test the hydros control, and I'll tell you why. I have never had success with anything from CoralView. So unfortunately, I don't know. Guys, I'm trying to get as many things as I can to test, but unfortunately I'm running out of funds now to do it. So if I start to make more money, then maybe I'll buy some stuff. Because as you guys know, I don't let people send me stuff. Yeah, Brian, I emailed you, never got a response. Like I said, that's going to be an episode. So, and then I'm going to do another episode where I start to actually do a 0 or 1 out of 10 rating on different parts of each one of them. So, Matt, not necessarily, because those bubbles are too big. Micro bubbles require very, very fine bubbles. You have to actually use a wood diffuser if you're going to be micro bubbling. 321, take a look at last week's stream. We went over a lot of battery backup stuff. But yes, you could definitely do that. You should let Desert Reef use GHL and film a bloopers episode. Oh boy. Well, I don't know if anybody's on here that has a GHL, but I'm not knocking it at all, but there's just a lot of stuff that has been really difficult for me to figure out, and I finally figured it out, but it took me a while. You guys are going to see in the next episode where I go over how leak detection works. And, you know, the leak detection, for those that don't have a GHL, it's not called leak detection, it's called fill water. I'm gonna literally type it in so you guys can see what I mean. Leak detection is called fill water. Like, who knows that? Like, I don't know. I mean, regardless if the Germans, you know, were like, oh, this is going to be great. Who the heck does fill water? What got you started microbubbling? I had dynos, and that got me started. If you look up Cruz's method on dynos, that's part of it. Yes, Harry Singer does have a GHL and has been contacting me about programming and some other stuff, and he's as confused as I am. So, again, there's a lot of GHL guys out there that can really figure it out, but I am struggling with a number of things. But again, there's a lot of good things about GHL tool. So when we get to my episodes, you're going to see I'm going to do a 1 to 10 rating on all of it, so that way I'm not biased, and that way I go over every little thing, and people can then say, oh, well, maybe you should have given that a 7 instead of a 4. Hopefully that'll be more legit. Let's see, maybe they meant feel water. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's not what it says. Steph, I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think we need more choices for controllers. I think all these companies are trying to get controllers and try to compete with each other. It makes things worse because, for instance, now Neptune can't control anything that's Ecotech. Everyone loves Ecotech product, but now they can't control it with Apex. So the more that these companies are trying to make more controllers, the more competing products they're going to have, the more the infrastructure is not going to work. For those that don't know, I program Crestron for a living, and if someone made a TV that they decided is some special TV that won't work with Crestron, people would be pissed because they couldn't turn on and off their TV with Crestron, but every other TV on the market they could. So I kind of disagree with you there. I think we need to have less controllers. Lucas, I don't know much about Reef Savvy tanks. I would venture to believe they do take a while. Yeah, fill the circuit, exactly. What are your thoughts on the cage director? I don't know. I've never used it or seen it, but I can tell you that I like it. I like how it works. I don't like the fact that you need a whole doser for it, but I've heard it works. Steph, I agree with you 100% with what you just said. I have so many people out there, and I think Reef or Desert Reef does this, where you can just buy smart plugs and program it just like a controller. But again, the controller, I think we got to differentiate between a controller and a monitor. A controller, yeah, you can get smart plugs and do whatever the hell you want, but being able to monitor everything is the most important. And there's a lot of companies that make monitors, so you technically could get a monitor and then get a bunch of smart plugs and save yourself some money. Just look up Betamax. Oh boy. $14 months. Wow, that's crazy. Stanley, I don't know. Again, that's another thing that I'm starting to see a lot of testers out there. So it's hard. Everybody wants to compete with each other. I think, you know, I've been happy with my Trident, but I was happy with my Alcatronic too, you know. So they're all pretty good. As you all know, I don't like my Reef bot very much, but that's another story. It skipped 3 tests last week. It skips tests all the time. I'm kind of just done with it. But you know, there's companies out there like Mastertronics making something that's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know. Hopefully, Neptune will make something. Yeah, Reef Savvy makes really good tanks. You know, I got to tell you guys though, Ecotech Marine makes really good tanks. You know, I got this little 10-gallon, which I think is awesome. I got my Innovative Marine 100, which I think is a fantastic tank. You know, Waterbox even makes really good tanks. So it's hard to say. You know, the Reef Savvy, yeah, they're great tanks. But is it worth the money? I don't know. I mean, again, if you want a custom tank, yeah, you got to go to like Reef Savvy, you know. So, like I said, we're gonna cut this a little short today. We're gonna close out the contest. If you haven't entered the contest, too bad. I'm gonna kind of do what I did last week. Like I said, I was a little busy this morning and this week, so I didn't really get to think about it. But the winner is just gonna get a $50 gift card to wherever they want. So just let me know where you want it to. Hopefully it's a place that I can get electronic gift card. Winner, just go ahead and PM me on Facebook. And yeah. There are about 30-40 people in here today. We're getting really close, by the way, to 1,000 subs. And once we get to 1,000 subs, guys, we are giving away that Trident that's been sitting in my storage for months. So it might need new reagents, unfortunately. But I do have it. So, all right. So let's pick a winner today. Again, today is going to be a gift card. So, let's see. Close and pick. And our winner today, I saw him a few times in here, is Mr. John Graves. John Graves, congratulations on your win today. Sir, I know you've been in our streams quite a bit, so look at that. People tell me all the time, hey, I've never won. They don't come to the stream, so they don't win. Just keep coming, and you know, like Hatfield's Reef, I think you won 7 times or something. So you never know. So John, give me a holler on Facebook, and we'll get you over a gift card. So, like I said today, guys, I got to get going, unfortunately, so I can't have a long stream. But I do appreciate you coming today. Sorry it was, you know, a little more of a unorganized stream, but I just wanted to get on and talk a little bit and see how everyone's doing. Hopefully everyone's doing great. Yeah. Any other questions before I go? And again, thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to some of my videos coming. I got them ready to go. I just have to edit them, and you'll probably see them this week. I got some top 10s that I'm working on, and we got some good guests coming. I'm not going to tell you who, but I'm excited for sure. And yeah, so guys, peace. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.